Kevin Owens credits Triple H for idea to rely on fan footage to capture attack on Cody Rhodes after WWE Bad Blood. Owens chats the post-Bad Blood angle and him being able to use the package piledriver. It was after WWE's Bad Blood pay-per-view came to a close that the feud between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes officially kicked off. Fan footage was captured of Rhodes walking to his tour bus and then Owens showed up. The two were exchanging words and it was not long before Owens started beating Rhodes down. While guest appearing on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, Owens spoke about the idea to rely on fans to capture video of the attack and share it out to social media. He credited Paul, Triple H, Levesque for the idea and said Levesque just has a different creative mentality than Vince McMahon had. Further speaking about his feud with Rhodes, another high point was at Saturday night's main event when Owens delivered a package piledriver to Rhodes. It was the first time Owens used the move in WWE. He said he'd been asking to do it for a while. Owens said he knew Penta was coming to WWE and joked that he would have lost his sh*t if Penta got to do the move before him. Owens was scheduled to face Randy Orton at Wrestlemania 41, but that match is now off the books as Owens is scheduled to undergo neck surgery. Cody Rhodes regrets the AEW Dynamite promo. Right after the promo, in a media call ahead of Double or Nothing, Rhodes told Wrestling Inc.'s Nick Hausman that he wasn't trying to mansplain racism. He talked about being made of by fans and said, in an interview on Wrestling with Brandon F. Walker, Cody Rhodes said he stood by what he said in the promo, but he admitted, however, a white guy talking about race relations, who has an American flag tattoo on his neck. I can see why people would use the terms, tone deaf, when it came to that. And then trying to defend it and all. And again, intentions were good, and sincere, and I was so excited about Brandy and the baby. But that should have just been one where I went out and almost just winged it. It set the angle in like a tailspin where it just wasn't a classic, UK versus USA, fun-spirited deal. I was going to go over to the UK, we have the return match. Now I just never want to think about it again. It wasn't the first time Cody Rhodes had talked about race in AEW. Following Double or Nothing in 2019, he was asked at the press conference about the diversity in the company. Rhodes, in a much better moment, spoke about a conversation he once had with his wife, Brandy Rhodes, who is black. I said, I don't see color, and she said, well, then you don't see my experience. And I thought, oh, you're right, I can't just say that. You need to be able to see that experience and at least understand it. And the old territory system of, just one, and a lot of folks may remember that's out. And that's a very diverse profile, and I'm really proud of it. We're going to promote them as wrestlers. That's all the elements of diversity. We're not gonna make it a PR element. It's about the wrestling. Cody Rhodes may have missed the mark with his Dynamite promo, but the remarks he gets are usually all in good fun. People know his heart was in the right place, so the comments have been jokes and not angry criticism. After all, who could be upset with the wrestler who brought racism to an end with one powerful promo? It wasn't me. That was Triple H. That was his idea, to rely on fans to film my attack on Cody Rhodes after WWE Bad Blood. He felt confident in doing it that way. I was not sure. I'm like, I don't know, man. Is there even going to be enough people there? It turns out he was completely right. There was, and yeah, it was just a different way of telling the stories. And he's got a different mentality than Vince McMahon had, and it's really interesting and people really responded to it, and the same thing with Randy Orton. The way I ended up ultimately turning on Randy, it was on TV but it was done differently. It was something that was released later as well and you just kind of caught the tail end of it on TV, but then, they did the security footage after. He wants to tell stories differently and he's willing to try stuff out and see what sticks, and I think that makes the show way more interesting. It doesn't mean it's always gonna work. There might be sometimes it doesn't land. But, we're trying different things and new things, and I think that's so important in wrestling. When it gets monotonous and repetitive, no matter how good the matches are and the promos are, if you feel like you've seen it before, and it's okay to have seen it before once. If you see a rematch once or twice, great. But man, there were times over, I'd say in 2008, 2009, and I was an avid fan. I would never miss any WWE shows, even when I was an independent wrestler traveling the world.
Kevin Owens' heinous act to cost Randy Orton his match vs. Carmelo Hayes on WWE SmackDown. Chances explored. WWE superstar Randy Orton returned at the 2025 Elimination Chamber to get back at his former ally Kevin Owens. The Viper stopped the prizefighter from further destroying Sami Zayn after the unsanctioned match between the Canadians. While Cole eventually managed to escape Orton's wrath thanks to the security officials, he could pull off a heinous trick against the Apex Predator on this week's edition of SmackDown. Kevin Owens turned heel during the closing stages of the 2024 Bad Blood after Cody Rhodes teamed up with Roman Reigns. A rogue Co then feuded with Randy, eventually injuring the 14-time world champion after delivering a piledriver to Randy during a brawl on SmackDown last November. Now, Randy Orton is back to collect his dues from Owens. The Viper is scheduled to face Carmelo Hayes on this week's edition of SmackDown. Although Orton may not fall for Melo's sneaky pinfall roll-up this time around, there is a chance that Cole may cause a distraction, which may allow him to steal another win. Hayes previously defeated Randy in a triple threat Money in the Bank qualifying match last year that also involved Tama Tonga. Notably, the prizefighter had reached the doorsteps of Sami Zayn ahead of their unsanctioned match in Toronto. He posted a video of himself from outside Sami's house on X. The former Universal Champion issued threats in the video and blamed his frenemy for the consequences that awaited the Raw superstar. Now, Cole could perform the heinous act once again and pull up outside Orton's house this time. This would be the perfect setup for an opportunist like Hayes to land a vicious blow and pin the Apex Predator. While this is a significant possibility, all of this is speculation so far. Randy Orton to injure Kevin Owens during their potential match at WrestleMania 41. Kevin Owens has been a loose cannon ever since he turned heel. The prizefighter has used the package piledriver on multiple superstars and also tried to execute the banned move on Shawn Michaels during the contract signing segment ahead of his latter match against Cody Rhodes at the Royal Rumble. Moreover, he also stole the Winged Eagle title last December. Randy Orton has already hinted that he is ready to bring back his Legend Killer mode and completely destroy Cole. He almost landed a punt kick on the former United States champion in Toronto but was stopped by the security officials seconds before his boot made contact with Owens' skull. If the two men get a spot at WrestleMania 41, this foreshadowing could see the light of day in Las Vegas. The company could use this setup to give the Viper a big win and send Cole on a kayfabe injury hiatus. However, this is also speculative at this point. It will be interesting to see what lies ahead for the former friends on the road to the show of shows. Randy Orton will return to the ring for his first match since October on the Friday, March 14 WWE SmackDown. Orton kicked off this week's episode with a promo addressing John Cena's heel turn and Orton's surprise run-in at last Saturday's Elimination Chamber PLE following the Kevin Owens vs. Sami Zayn match. Later in Friday's show, after a run-in with Carmelo Hayes in a backstage segment, Orton vs. Hayes was made official for next Friday's SmackDown. Charlotte